Coming to you from sunny South Carolina, it's the Palmetto Conservative Show with your host, Jim Lee. From the upstate to the low country, from the coast to Columbia, we'll cover what's right and uncover what's wrong in the Palmetto State. If we see it, we say it. We call it like it is in South Carolina. And now, it's the Palmetto Conservative Show. Let's jam.
And welcome into the Palmetto Conservative Show here on the Conservative Broadcast Media Network. I'm your host, Jim Lee, part political junkie, part technology geek, part commentator, and sometimes snarky agitator for the application of common sense and the pursuit of critical thinking in the marketplace of ideas, particularly as it relates to the Palmetto State. I don't profess to have all the answers, folks, just an awful lot of relevant questions. And the questions just keep on coming. The hits, as they say, keep on coming. Welcome into the final episode of the Palmetto Conservative Show for 2012. Hard to believe that this year has come and will soon go. Today being the 26th, the first day after Christmas, 2012. Just a few days before the New Year's holiday, although almost sacrilegious to call it that. Holiday originates from the term holy day, or day set aside. But in fact, it is a holiday, at least according to the federal government, so the post office will be closed, the bank will be closed, most places of work will be closed, except for you poor folks who will be forced to work on New Year's Day to provide goods and services for those of us who are off to take advantage of on that day. But we thank you, not only for your support on New Year's Day, but also for the income taxes you'll be paying. Or not, depending on which percentage you fall into, be it the 1% or the 47%. Well, it's been a week, to be sure. When we last met, we spent a good amount of time talking about the looming fiscal cliff. And, well, not surprisingly, we're going to be talking about the looming fiscal cliff again here tonight. And one can say with, I think, a higher degree of confidence that we are, in fact, heading for the fiscal cliff that we're going to go over at breakneck speed. And so I encourage you to please make sure your seat backs are in the full and upright and locked position, that your seat belts are firmly secured not only across your lap, but across your shoulders as well. Be prepared for that sudden burst that'll occur when the airbag deploys and you get a face full of dust from the airbag. And I'd like to say that's going to be the worst of it, but probably won't. But we'll talk about that in due time here, in due course this evening. Well, again, gathering together to take on the cacistocracy. For those of you new to the program, cacistocracy is a great word. I think that it says in a single word an entire mouthful. Cacistocracy is a government by the worst persons, or a form of government in which the worst persons are in power. And one could certainly make a compelling argument that we have government right now by the worst persons. Or maybe really they're the best persons. We have the best people in government right now that are focused on nothing less than ensuring that our present form of government, based on a federal model of a republic, comes to an end. But that's my view. You might have a different view. But if you've tuned into the Palmetto Conservative Show expecting to hear big government rhetoric and liberal promotions, well, aside from a liberal dose of sarcasm and snarkiness, you're not going to find it here. One of my favorite quotes of all times comes from none other than Plato. And it goes as thus. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Those of you who are sitting back thinking that your superiors are firmly in charge, I suggest that you're sitting on your posterior and perhaps some of your gray matter, and you might want to take a look around you. Where else can you find a government whose around this world whose functions are so dysfunctional that they can't even so much as get an up or down vote on something as simple as, say, a budget. But alas, I digress. Bear with me 1 second as I ramble something here into the chat room. For those of you listening online on Spreaker, here on the Conservative Broadcast Media Network, there is a chat feature that's available, and we'd certainly welcome you to join in, give us some of your snarkiness, ask a question, or get engaged in the conversation. There's no harm, no foul. I promise I won't call you out, and we treat all questions as sincere, except for those that are obviously insincere. We try and be serious here on the Palmetto Conservative Show, at least serious about actually addressing the issues and questions that come up. But anyway, so here we are, the final show of 2012. How's 2012 been for you? Been a good year? Been a year that will go down in the record books, in the annals of history, as a great year? I'd like to say that was the case here at the Palmetto Conservative Show, but if I said that, I'd probably be an elected politician by now, because I'd be lying. And in fact, that's not the case. 2012 has been a challenging year, to say the least. At the beginning of the year, the economy being in the difficult state that it was, resulted in the company that I was working for closing one of its lines of business. And as a result, I joined the ever-growing and consistent ranks of the unemployed for a period of no less than 5 months. During that time, we drained all of our resources in order to survive. And as difficult as that was, I'm grateful that I live in a country where even during our most difficult times, we had the support of good friends and church family and others around us to give us encouragement. And also at the same time, I was running for political office here in the Palmetto State. And even though we were unsuccessful in winning the primary, we ran a spirited and effective campaign. Not effective enough, but in the course of that, had the privilege to meet so many good people. But in the course of that, the outcome was, well, fairly typical, in that even though in my race an incumbent was in fact unseated, time will tell as to whether or not the individual who will replace the now former incumbent will turn out to be a strong conservative or will become part of the good old boy network that is South Carolina government and the South Carolina General Assembly. But in that same election, over 250 prospective colleagues were thrown off the ballot here in South Carolina, and in a shameful exercise of political ineptitude and an overreaching Supreme Court, a situation that in the case of incumbents and other office holders, which would have resulted in a mere fine, resulted in the equivalent of a death sentence for challengers who were thrown off the ballot. And as a result, not only were candidates disenfranchised, but so were the people. The people were disenfranchised because their choice, their opportunity to choose, was taken away from them. And in the end, 150 of those candidates and others put forth yeoman's work to get on the ballots as petition candidates. And while I am saddened to report that only one was successful in their attempt, that one was very, very important because it resulted in the unseating of an incumbent state senator that was an embarrassment not only to the state but to the Republican Party and to any who consider themselves to be conservatives. So for that I'm grateful. Then we fast forward to the November election, and I would be remiss if I were to state that the outcome was expected. I expected it to be close, but I expected the outcome to be different. But it wasn't. And as a result, well, get ready, America, because you asked for it. You got it. We now have before us a mountain to climb in order to get to the valley on the other side, to begin repairing what is being systematically torn apart in this republic. Now, lest you think that I'm simply spewing hyperbole and going over the top, the fact that we have not had a budget throughout the entire first term of our current president, who begins his second term in several weeks, is all the indication that you need to understand precisely how bad off we are and what is happening. But welcome back here. Apologize for the technical difficulties we appear to be experiencing this evening. You're listening to the Palmetto Conservative Show here on the Conservative Broadcast Media Network. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Feeling lonely this holiday season?
Looking for little human interaction?
Do you want to feel contact in certain special places?
Then why not go through security at an airport?
The TSA.
TSA agents are ready and standing by to give you a little something extra to feel thankful about this holiday season.
The TSA.
What are you waiting for? I want to check under your testicles.
Spending time with a TSA agent couldn't be easier. Simply book a flight departing from any American airport. When selected for a full body scanner, say no. You'll be pulled aside by a TSA agent, and that's when the fun begins. And you never know who your agent will be.
It could be me. Or me. Or even me.
But it's probably gonna be us. Take off your damn shoes.
The TSA. It's our business to touch yours.
Welcome to the Bureau of Womanhood Conformity. Independent thoughts are considered subversive because all must agree with our leader.
When it comes to women,